Fantastic. It's wonderful to be after so many fantastic presentations. Thank you very much for inviting me to talk about this project. RAF Uxbridge is a site in a very unique location on the outskirts of London, close to Uxbridge town. It's steeped in military history, if you've never heard of it. At the heart of the site is Hillingdon House, which history dates back to 1717. House burnt down, and a current Grade 2 listed house was built in 1844. In World War II, the site known as RAF Uxbridge played a crucial role in the pivotal Battle of Britain. The bunker built on the site was the home of the Fighter Command Number 11 group from 1939. The operations of the successful air battle were directed from the bunker. It remained operational until 1958. So as you can see, this site is steeped in military history and has a critical sort of location right close to the town centre, very close to the council offices, and as you can see, sort of from the picture of the bunker there, that was the operations room from which everything was directed. So St Andrew's Park is the redevelopment of the RAF Uxbridge. It's a significant mixed-use development in Uxbridge, as it contains many challenges and many opportunities depending on how you look at it. The historic buildings, it has the River Pin, main river running straight through the middle of it, and integration with existing location very close to the town centre. Hillingdon, as an outer London borough, has a very mixed sort of dense urban population as well as sort of open space and parkland. So we have a range of community needs to balance in the planning and the future demands for climate and the environment. The aim at St Andrew's Park is to ensure that it benefits from its location very close to town, but it's setting in a wider countryside and more leafy environment. As a large sort of 110-acre site, it aimed to include 1,300 homes, a new primary school, offices, shops, restaurant, theatre, hotel. We've got a new visitor centre where the bunker is, and care home. Sitting quite unusually as a lead local flood authority in the planning team, it gave me a unique opportunity to work with the planners on engaging early and reiterating a number of the themes that are in all the presentations so far today. This discussion, if I give you the context, happened in 2010 to 12, so it's taken time to get to this point. At that time, Suds weren't a material planning consideration, but I had an agreement with the Environment Agency that I took the lead on surface water management. The key thing for Hillingdon is surface water is one of our key risks. We have 5,000 people at risk from fluvial flood risk, but 38,000 people potentially at risk from surface water. We need to influence these developments and make sure sustainable drainage is integrated throughout these developments to make sure that we can take the opportunities to increase the resilience in the future. So whilst there are a number of constraints, or I would look at it as opportunities, we established through master planning of the whole site a Suds master plan as well. So this significantly would reduce what was free discharge into the River Pin. Large area of floodplain within the site meant that we could secure a 40-acre parkland to be opened up and handed over to the council with the river running through it. We had the space to create sort of source and regional controls throughout the park and going into the river. We've promoted water reuse on site, although most of these elements are outside the sort of the flood risk remit. They stitched me up with my title of floods and water management specialist. So integrated within the green links along the Spine Road, we have swales linking the development with the parkland. The school has its own strategy for Suds within it, as it discharges directly into the River Pin. The whole catchment has been divided up into plots, each of which have to provide permeable paving within there and restrict its discharge to a limit. There's also, as a result, Section 106 agreement to create the management and a maintenance plan to require the private management company taking on this to manage it to certain standards after handover. This just gives you a flavour of some of the things. We've been working with Alan Pike and Atkins as the engineers for the scheme. As I've mentioned, we've focused on source control, so water butts on every residential property, pervious pavement within all of the plots, restricting flows, swales to convey all of this through the sort of park along the main spine road, and then into a detention basin before going into the River Pin. So although a strategy and a master plan was agreed up front and early, I, as the lead local flood authority, spent a lot of time working with the landscape architects for the developers and the engineers to make sure they were talking to each other. And as discharge of conditions came forward, to make sure that the whole overall aims and vision for the site wasn't eroded. That took a lot of persuasion, a lot of using the case studies from susdrains, fortunately. They came in very handy to really influence and make sure that the aims and the vision for the whole site weren't eroded. So even once the strategy is agreed, it takes a long time and hard work and determination to prevent it from being eroded. And that means looking at a site throughout the length of its construction. So here's a few examples of actually what's happened so far. Half of the site has been developed so far, mainly the residential areas. As you can see, I managed to get out when it snowed. So this is Willoughby Avenue in 2017, so the first year that it was in place. As you can see, yet to really establish itself. But in 2018, only a few weeks ago, it's much more established in terms of the environment and the setting, creating a really good green link between the residents and their homes and the wider park, which is just down the road. And as you can see, sort of Dowding Park, the name of the park there, that also has information boards on there which actually describe the Suds features and the benefits that they give to those residents. We've created a place that integrates those people with water and nature and brings the urban area to life. However, I look at those examples and actually look at how much more we could have achieved. There are still things that I would like to have done differently, as with any project, and as everybody else has mentioned, implementing basins and swales and open water features. There's always a concern about health and safety and how you manage that. And as you can see, we've had knee rails put in around some of the basins to prevent access. However, the features are still there. And it's really good in my position to actually finally see a project actually come to fruition, having been there long enough now. In planning, it's all about balancing the different needs in order to achieve the best outcome, and sometimes compromise is needed. So certainly in some aspects of the spine road, that we haven't been able to maintain the swales throughout the whole length. We've put in rain gardens because it suited a more urban environment within the sort of the shopping and restaurant district. So there are still opportunities and things I would have liked to have done different. And obviously there are more opportunities and other things you will take and learning you will move on to in other projects. I've uploaded a few of these Google photos, which have had 1,000 hits so far. So obviously local people are looking at these and enjoying them and actually understanding a bit more about the environment of their area, which is fantastic. So I'd encourage you all to take photos of your local schemes, put them online, make sure people can see them and appreciate them. Hopefully, we've started a chain of acceptance of inclusion of Suds within my highways team. I sit in planning. My highways team have struggled in the past to really sort of look at adopting Suds. So we've used some of this as a trial project of how they adopt this and what sort of maintenance they will need to do. And so we'll be taking this forward into other projects that we'll be looking at. It reinforces the need to secure Suds early and to do this through the collaboration with everyone. That means the planners, the landscape architects, as well as the engineers. And I think we've achieved a fantastic sort of urban and links with wider parks, with the wider park, Dowding Park, for residents, and creating a new community for them to enjoy.